Emily arrived at my doorstep at 2:14 a.m., barefoot, shaking so violently that for a second I didn't even recognize her. My twin sister has always been the strong one, the calm one, the one who could talk her way out of anything. But that night, she looked like a ghost. She clutched her phone so tightly her knuckles were white. Her mascara streaked down both cheeks like someone had dragged shadows across her face. Her voice came out small, broken, nothing like the Emily I grew up with. "Harper," she whispered, barely breathing. "He's going to kill me." My heart dropped. No warm-up, no explanation, no confusion. Just 5 words that told me everything I needed to know. Ryan hurt her, and he meant it. Ryan, the man who charmed our family, charmed her friends, charmed everyone but me. I always felt something wrong beneath his perfect smile. Something cold, something mean, something waiting. But Emily loved him. Emily trusted him. Emily married him. And now Emily was standing in front of me with a shaking hand, holding her throat like she was trying to keep herself from falling apart. Before anything else, let me say this. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if you believe in karma, hit like and subscribe, because this story will prove it. I pulled her inside instantly and locked the door. She flinched at the sound of the bolt turning. My sister, who used to laugh at horror movies, jumped at a lock. That's when I knew Ryan hadn't lost his temper. He had terrified her. She sank onto my couch like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. Her breath came in ragged gasps. Her hair was tangled, her cheek blotchy and red, her lips split at the corner. But it was when she slowly untied the silk scarf from her neck that I stopped breathing. Around her throat was a bruise. Not a random bruise. A hand-shaped bruise. I felt something inside me break. "Emily," I whispered, kneeling in front of her. "What did he do?" She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. She wiped her face with shaking fingers. "He came home angry. I don't even know why. I think it was my text to you earlier. He hates when I talk to you too much. He said I made him look weak." I squeezed her hands. "You didn't do anything wrong." She shook her head like she didn't believe me. "He grabbed me, Harper. I thought he wasn't going to stop. I ran when he went to get his phone. He was calling someone. I think he wanted someone to drag me back inside." I felt cold all over. My sister, my twin, my other half, running barefoot in the dark because the man who vowed to protect her put his hands around her throat. I stood up. "Emily," I said quietly, "switch clothes with me." She blinked, confused. "What?" "Switch with me." She stared, breath trembling. "Harper? Why?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "Because you're not going back to that house," I said. "And Ryan is not going to get away with this. Not tonight." She shook her head, terrified. No, Harper, you can't. He'll know it's you." "We're identical," I said. "Same height, same hair, same face, same voice if I want it to be." I stepped closer. "And Ryan has never once looked at you closely enough to know the difference." She covered her mouth with both hands. "Harper, please." I crouched in front of her. "You trust me, right?" She nodded, tears dripping off her jawline. "Then listen to me," I whispered. "You stay here. You lock the door. You call the police if anyone even touches the handle. I'll go to your house. I'll make Ryan think you came back. He won't know he's dealing with me." Emily grabbed my wrists desperately. "What if he hurts you too?" I gently pried her hands loose. "He won't get the chance." Not because I was stronger, not because I was braver, because I wasn't scared of him. He didn't know me. He didn't know my limits. He didn't know what I'd do to protect my sister. Emily finally nodded, though she still trembled. We switched clothes, fast. Her oversized sweater, her leggings, her messy bun, her puffy eyes. I took it all. I became Emily for the night. She became the hidden twin, the one who'd stay safe. As I stood in front of her hallway mirror, I felt rage settle over me like armor. My hair pulled the same way she wore it. My posture softened to her natural stance. I practiced her timid, "Ryan?" voice, and I saw her fear reflected in my own face. Then I picked up her keys. "Harper," Emily whispered behind me, "don't do anything reckless." I turned to her. "Emily." He put his hands around your neck. She closed her eyes, tears falling silently. "I can't let him do that again," I said. "Not to you. Not to anyone." I touched her cheek. I'm not doing this because I want revenge. I'm doing this because you deserved better the day you met him. She sobbed softly. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. Then I left. The night air felt heavy as I approached her house. His house. The porch light was on. Her car sat crooked in the driveway, the way she abandoned it when she ran. Inside, a shadow moved across the curtains. He was awake. He was pacing. He was waiting. I stepped onto the porch and rang the doorbell. My heart was steady, my voice ready, my muscles tight with adrenaline, because he thought Emily had returned scared, broken. But instead, he was about to meet me. The lock clicked. The door cracked open. Ryan's face appeared in the gap, tired, irritated, angry enough to kill. And then he smirked, a slow, disgusting smirk. There you are, he said. I knew you'd crawl back. My stomach twisted with hatred so sharp it felt electric. But I stayed in character. I lowered my eyes. Ryan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. He grabbed my wrist, hard, just like Emily said. Get inside, he growled. I looked up at him slowly and smiled. Not Emily's soft, scared smile. My smile, cold, calm, dangerous. Ryan's grip tightened. What's wrong with you? He snapped. I leaned in close enough for him to smell the peppermint gum I always chewed, something Emily hated. And I whispered, I'm not Emily. His face drained of color. What? I stepped inside, shutting the door behind me. You hurt my sister, I said quietly. And now you're going to learn what that feels like. Ryan's eyes widened as he stumbled backward. What the Harper? What the hell are you? But I didn't let him finish. Because tonight wasn't about Emily being afraid. Tonight was about Ryan realizing he picked the wrong twin to break. Ryan stumbled backward like he'd seen a ghost. For the first time since I'd known him, the mask slipped. No charm. No smooth false confidence. No fake smile for the world. Just a man who realized he wasn't in control anymore. Harper, he whispered. How? How dare you come into my house pretending to be her? I stepped closer. Calm. Almost slow. Funny, I said, because you didn't seem to mind grabbing your wife by the wrist a second ago. His jaw clenched. I thought you were. Exactly, I cut in. You thought I was Emily, and you were ready to drag her inside like she was a dog that escaped the yard. My voice was low, cold, steady, nothing like Emily's soft, trembling whisper. Ryan opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Good. Let him choke on it. I took another step, eyes locked on his. You put your hands around my sister's neck, he swallowed. She exaggerates. Really? I asked, because the bruise looks pretty real to me. He flinched. He didn't expect me to have seen it. I kept walking until I was inches away. He smelled like whiskey and cheap cologne, the scent of a man who believed he didn't have to hide anything anymore. Where is your phone? I asked quietly. He frowned. What? Your phone, Ryan. The one you grabbed when Emily ran out. Who were you calling? His eyes darted to the table, and that was all I needed. I walked past him, grabbed the phone, and held it up. He lunged forward. Give me that. I stepped out of his reach easily. Why? I asked softly. You afraid of what I'll see? It's none of your business, Harper. Oh, but hurting Emily was my business, I snapped. And this phone? This phone might explain exactly who you plan to call to bring her back. His face twisted. You're insane. The phone buzzed in my hand. Incoming call. Brody. I raised an eyebrow. Brody? I asked. You were calling Brody? Ryan froze. I knew Brody. Everyone did. A man with zero morals, zero patience, and zero hesitation to do illegal things for cash. People called him a fixer. People who needed things done quietly. I let the name hang in the air. You were going to have Brody drag Emily back here? I asked softly. Ryan inhaled sharply. I told him to help me find her. Not that. I tilted my head. Emily ran barefoot into the night after you put your hands on her, and you called a man known for violence to find her. Explain that to me. He looked away. Don't twist things. I took a step closer. I'm not twisting anything. I'm collecting facts. His nostrils flared. Harper, he said, voice dropping, You came here pretending to be my wife. That's illegal. I didn't blink. And choking your wife is what, Ryan? A marriage hobby? His face darkened. You don't understand our relationship. I actually laughed. Ryan, if you think anyone is buying that, you're dumber than I thought. His hands curled into fists. You can't talk to me like that. Oh, that's right, I said mockingly. You only like women who tremble. His eyes flashed with anger, but I didn't flinch, because I wasn't Emily. He couldn't break what wasn't afraid. Finally, he snapped. Where is she? I folded my arms. Safe. He took a slow step toward me. You think you can protect her? She's my wife. She belongs here. My voice dropped to a deadly whisper. She belongs where she's safe, and that place is anywhere you are not. He took another step. You need to leave. I will, I said, but not until we talk. About what? He growled. About consequences. He laughed sharply. Consequences? You think you can threaten me? No, I said softly. I don't need to threaten you. I just need to remind you. Of what? I pointed to the small black dome in the corner of the living room ceiling. Ryan froze. He blinked. You turned on the security cameras? No, I said. You turned them on. They're motion activated. They record automatically. His face went pale. He looked at the camera, then slowly at me. Harper, he said quietly. Delete the footage. Oh, I would, I said. Except I didn't know they auto-recorded until just now. Which means, I pointed to the device, that whatever you did when you thought I was Emily, I tapped my phone screen, is already backed up. His eyes widened, including, I added calmly, grabbing my wrist hard enough to bruise. He took a frightening step toward me. You think that little recording is going to ruin me? I can fix this. I lifted the phone. But can you fix this? He blinked. What's that supposed to? I played the voicemail. Emily sent it to me weeks ago. She didn't even remember she had. Ryan's voice poured out of the speaker. Cold, sharp, violent. Next time you run, I'll make sure you don't walk again. Ryan lunged for the phone. I stepped back. Don't touch me. He froze mid-step. I smiled slightly. You didn't know she recorded you, did you? Your temper? Your threats? Your promises to hurt her? His chest rose and fell rapidly. That recording, I continued, combined with the footage from tonight? Ryan, that's enough for charges. He shook his head violently. I'll sue you. I'll sue Emily. No, I said firmly. You won't. Why the hell not? Because you're not the only one who records. That stopped him. What? I stepped closer. Emily told me about the safe in your office. The one behind the bookshelf. The one you said was just for documents. His jaw tightened. What about it? Emily didn't know the combination, I said. But she knew you kept a USB inside. A USB you guarded more carefully than your wedding ring. His eyes widened. Harper, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do. I leaned in. That USB has the real reason you're terrified right now. He stiffened. You wouldn't. That USB, I continued, contains footage of you, hurting her, yelling at her, destroying things, threatening her. He swallowed hard. You're bluffing. I tilted my head. Ryan wasn't scared of getting caught for being abusive. He was scared of something else, something bigger, something that USB contained, something Emily didn't even know about. And lucky for us, I said softly, the police are already on their way. He froze. What? I texted 911 before I even walked in. He looked sick. They're coming, I said. And the moment they step inside, that USB is evidence. He shook his head desperately. No. He backed into the wall, panic rising in his throat. You don't know what's on that drive. I smiled coldly. Then I guess we'll find out together. Sirens blared in the distance. Ryan looked at the door, then at me. He finally realized he wasn't getting out of this. Not tonight. Not ever again. The sirens got louder, faster, closer. Ryan's breathing turned shallow, almost ragged. He kept glancing between the front window and the hallway, calculating escape routes he knew he didn't have. He tried to steady his voice. Harper, listen, We can fix this. Just delete the footage. Give me the phone. Let's talk like adults. I tilted my head. Talk like adults? You mean the way you talk to Emily? His jaw locked. You don't understand what she does to me. There it was. The classic abuser's anthem. I raised a brow. And what exactly does she do to you? He threw his hands in the air. She pushes my buttons. She knows how to get under my skin. She doesn't respect me. Respect, I repeated slowly, is earned, not beaten out of someone. His face twisted. Don't act righteous, Harper. You're not better than her. I didn't say I was better, I said, stepping closer. I'm just not afraid of you. That got under his skin. He lunged forward, grabbing the back of the sofa for balance. I swear, if you ruin my life, you ruined your own life, I snapped. He opened his mouth to argue, but the red-blue strobe lights splashed across the living room walls. Too late. A knock rattled the door. Ryan whispered, Don't you dare answer that. I walked straight over and opened it. 2 officers stood there. 1 male, 1 female. The female officer stepped forward. We received a call from this address. Domestic disturbance. Motion camera footage flagged. Ryan shoved himself between us. Officers, this is a misunderstanding. My wife and her sister are trying to frame me. I laughed under my breath. Already starting. The male officer held up a hand. Sir, step aside. No, Ryan said. You don't understand. The female officer moved past him and gently took my arm. Ma'am, are you okay? Yes, I said. I'm Harper, Emily's twin. She blinked. Twin? Yes. And Emily is safe. She's at my home. The officer nodded. Why are you here tonight? I looked directly at Ryan. To show you something. The air shifted. The tension became heavy, almost alive. Ryan hissed. Harper, don't. I pulled out the phone and opened the security app, then held it up. The footage played. Ryan grabbing me, thinking I was Emily, dragging me inside, snapping at me, threatening, his face drained. The female officer crossed her arms. Sir, she said in a dangerously calm voice, is this how you normally behave with your wife? Ryan's voice cracked. That's not what it looks like. It looks like assault, she replied. It's not. She tricked me. She dressed as Emily. And you thought dressing as your wife made it okay to grab her? She countered. I didn't know who she was. So your defense, the officer said slowly, is that you assault women unless you can clearly confirm their identity? Ryan's mouth hung open. No words. Perfect. The male officer stepped forward and spoke firmly. Sir, we're going to need to check the rest of the house. Ma'am, is there anything else we should know? I nodded. Yes, the office room. There's a safe behind the bookshelf. He keeps recordings inside. Recordings of what? I turned to Ryan. You tell them. Ryan backed away like I had set fire to the carpet. No, you're not opening that safe. You can't. The male officer radioed in backup. Dispatch, requesting additional units. Possible evidence of domestic violence and concealed media. Ryan shouted, That USB is private property. The female officer snapped back. If it contains evidence of a crime, it's not private anymore. 2 more officers entered the home. Ryan's breathing turned frantic. You can't do this. You can't. Emily doesn't want this. She loves me. I stared at him coldly. No, Ryan. What Emily feels now is fear, and what she finally has is freedom. He shook his head like he wanted to tear the walls down. This is all your fault, Harper. You came between us. I stepped closer. No, you put yourself between her and safety. I just removed you. The female officer gently touched my elbow. Show us the office. I led them down the hall. Ryan followed, shouting, Officers, I did nothing wrong, nothing. We stepped into the office. Bookshelves, printer, desk, fake certificates on the wall. And behind the tall navy shelf, the safe. I pointed. There. The officer turned. Combination? Ryan swallowed. I'm not giving you anything. Then we'll get a warrant, the female officer said coolly, and return with a forensic team. You can't. He was losing the ability to form sentences. I stepped toward the desk, because Emily once told me, he always keeps it somewhere he thinks no one will check. His ego hides things where his ego sits. I opened the top drawer, and there it was. A sticky note. A single code. 0926. His birthday. Of course. I entered it into the safe keypad. Ryan screamed, "Stop! Stop right there!" The safe clicked open. Inside was a USB. Black. Unlabeled. Small. Unassuming. The female officer lifted it with gloved hands. "Sir," she said, "you're not under arrest yet, but you need to sit down. I swear if you open that—" "We will open it," she said calmly. "And if it contains evidence of violence, coercion, or threats, you're done." They plugged it into the police laptop. Ryan covered his face with both hands. Oh my God, no." The first file loaded. The thumbnail made my stomach twist. Emily, crying. Ryan towering over her. His voice filled the room. "If you ever leave, don't expect to walk again." The room fell silent. Then the second video opened. Emily in the kitchen. A plate shattered on the floor. Ryan's voice again. "You think you can embarrass me? You're nothing without me. Nothing." The third file. Emily in their bedroom. Ryan slamming the door so hard the frame shook. The fourth file. Emily at the dining table, barely holding back tears. Ryan slamming his hand inches from her face. The fifth file. Ryan whispering things so vile my stomach turned. One officer stepped back, visibly disgusted. Ryan collapsed into the desk chair. "No, please don't show those. Don't." The male officer looked at him with contempt. "Sir, these videos were recorded in your own home. With your own camera. There's no manipulation, no trick." Ryan buried his face. "You don't understand. Please, you don't understand what happens if those get out." And then it hit me. His panic wasn't fear of arrest. It was fear of exposure. This wasn't just about abuse. This was about reputation, about power, about secrets. The female officer scrolled down. "There's more," she said. "More?" A locked folder. Passcode protected. Labeled, "Evidence. For insurance." My blood ran cold. The female officer turned to Ryan. "What's in this folder?" Ryan shook his head violently. "You can't open that." "I swear to God, you can't." "What's in it?" she pressed. Ryan didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. "That," he whispered, "has nothing to do with Emily." "Then why are you afraid of it?" I asked. His voice dropped to a terrified whisper. "Because it has everything to do with me." The female officer typed in the same safe code, 0926. Locked. Wrong. She tried his birth year. Wrong. His wedding anniversary. Wrong. The officer looked at him. "Ryan, either you give us the password, or we send this to cyber forensics." He stared at the screen. His face drained of color. Then he whispered, "I can't." The officer crossed her arms. "Why?" His voice was barely a breath. "Because that folder, it'll ruin everything. My job, my reputation, my life." I stepped closer. "What did you do, Ryan?" He didn't look at me. He was shaking now, truly shaking. "That folder," he whispered, "has proof of something you don't know." "Proof of what?" He slowly lifted his eyes, and the look in them made my stomach drop. He whispered, "Proof that Emily wasn't the only woman I hurt." Ryan's whisper hung in the air like a poison. "Proof that Emily wasn't the only woman I hurt." The female officer went still. The male officer straightened. I felt my lungs tighten. "Ryan," the female officer said carefully, "you need to explain what that means." He shook his head violently. "You won't understand." "Try us," she said. He pressed his hands to his face. "I can't. It'll destroy me." I stepped forward. "You already destroyed yourself the moment you touched Emily." He glared at me, jaw twitching. "You think you know everything? You don't know." "Then tell us," the officer snapped. "Or we'll find out ourselves." She turned the laptop toward the officers. "Let's crack the folder." Ryan jumped to his feet. "No, you can't open that." "Sir," the officer said coldly, "sit down." He didn't. He bolted toward the laptop. The male officer grabbed him instantly, slamming him onto the desk. "Enough," the officer barked. "Do not interfere again." Ryan struggled, but he was no match for a trained officer. They cuffed him and pushed him into the chair. He looked up at me, eyes wild. "You don't know what you're about to do," he hissed. "Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing," I replied. The female officer typed something. The folder rejected her attempt. "Password protected," she muttered, "but encrypted. Meaning important." She pulled out a small black device from her belt, a portable forensic decryptor. Ryan's eyes went wide. "No, please, please, don't use that, please." She ignored him, connected the device, ran the program. The screen began filling with lines of code. 3 minutes. 2. 1. Access granted. The folder opened, and the room went silent. There were videos, photos, screenshots, email chains, voice memos, and financial records. Dozens, not of Emily, of other women. The female officer clicked the first file. A video loaded. A woman sat on a couch, knees pulled to her chest, crying. Ryan stood over her, yelling, slamming his fist into the wall. The second file. Another woman in a kitchen, flinching as Ryan threw a glass past her head. The third file. A different woman backing away in fear. The fourth. Another woman with bruises along her arm. The fifth. A hospital bill. A broken rib. Ryan's voice in the background. "Tell them you fell." My stomach twisted. The female officer's jaw clenched. The male officer shook his head. "There's more," the female officer whispered. She opened a folder labeled Payouts. Inside were screenshots of Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, thousands of dollars paid to various women. Memo lines. "For silence. Won't happen again. Please don't tell anyone. Here's the rest." The officer's voice turned hard. "These are hush payments." Ryan lowered his eyes. The officer clicked the next folder. Labeled, "Legal Threats." Inside were drafted letters Ryan wrote to scare women into staying quiet. Threats of lawsuits. Threats of calling their jobs. Threats of ruining their reputations. Threats of destroying their families. Every message was cruel, calculated, predatory. The female officer swallowed. "This isn't domestic violence anymore," she said quietly. "This is serial abuse." Then she opened the final file, the one at the bottom. A video only 3 seconds long. The thumbnail was a woman's face, swollen, bruised, bleeding from the lip. Emily wasn't the only victim. She was one of many. And Ryan kept records, not because he felt guilty, but because he needed leverage, power, blackmail material, insurance for himself. "So this is why you were terrified," I whispered. Ryan finally looked at me, not angry, not cocky, just defeated. "You don't understand," he rasped. "They would have ruined me, all of them. They wanted money. They lied. The female officer cut him off with a sharp glare. "Not one of these women looks like they're lying." Ryan clenched his teeth. They were dramatic, emotional. They twisted things. "I kept the videos to protect myself," I scoffed. "Protect yourself? You documented your own abuse." He shook his head wildly. No, those videos were taken out of context. Enough, the officer snapped. "Every abuser says the same thing." The male officer stepped forward and locked eyes with him. "Sir, you've committed multiple crimes. Domestic battery, assault, coercion, stalking, blackmail, obstruction, and possibly more." Ryan's breath hitched. "You can't arrest me for things in the past." The officer raised his eyebrows. "This isn't the past anymore. You documented everything. You saved it. You organized it. You even labeled it." Ryan's silence admitted everything he couldn't say. The female officer stood tall. "You're under arrest." Ryan froze. "No," he whispered. No, you can't do this. I'll lose everything, everything." The male officer cuffed him and began reading his rights. Ryan screamed, "Harper, look at me, look at me." I did. "You did this," he shouted. "You destroyed my life." I stepped forward and said quietly, "No, Ryan. You destroyed every woman who trusted you. This was just the day it caught up." He let out a guttural yell as the officers pulled him toward the door. "Emily will come back to me," he screamed. "She always does." I walked closer, voice low and deadly calm. "Emily is never coming back." Ryan thrashed against the officers. "You think you know her? You don't know anything. You don't..." but his voice was drowned out as they dragged him outside. The front door slammed. Sirens faded into the distance. And then there was silence. Deep. Heavy. Liberating. The female officer turned to me. "Harper," she said softly, "your sister is free now. And because of you, so are all the women he hurt." I nodded slowly, but my heart was racing, because one thought hit me hard. Emily didn't know any of this. She didn't know she wasn't the first. She didn't know she wasn't alone. She didn't know Ryan was far worse than she ever imagined. And I had to tell her. But I also had to do one more thing. I had to make sure his victims, the ones in the videos, knew they weren't crazy, knew they weren't weak, knew they weren't alone, and knew that Ryan would never touch any of them again. When I stepped outside, the cool air hit my face. The sky looked different, quieter, like the world had shifted, like the danger was gone. But the healing? That was just beginning. When the police car finally disappeared down the street, I stood alone on Ryan and Emily's porch. It was strange. The house that used to intimidate me suddenly felt tiny, powerless, hollow, like its owner. I locked the door behind me, walked down the steps, and drove straight home. My hands were shaking the whole ride, but not from fear, from adrenaline, from relief, from the weight of everything Emily didn't know yet. When I opened my front door, Emily sprang up from the couch. She had a blanket wrapped tightly around her like it was the only anchor keeping her from floating into pieces. "Harper," she whispered. I nodded, and she burst into sobs. I dropped to my knees in front of her and pulled her into my arms. She clung to me with both hands, shaking so hard I felt it down my spine. "I thought he would come for me," she cried. "He won't," I said softly. "Not anymore." She pulled back, eyes swollen and red. What did you do?" I exhaled. "Emily, the police came." Her hand went to her mouth. "Is he?" "He's arrested." Her shoulders collapsed with relief. A single breath left her body like she'd been holding it for years, but then new fear filled her eyes. "What if he gets out? What if he finds me?" I shook my head. "He won't. Not after what they found." She blinked. "What? Did they find?" I hesitated, because this wasn't just about bruises and yelling anymore. This was bigger, darker, and she deserved to know. But she deserved not to shatter. So I sat next to her and held her hands. "Em, you weren't the only one." She stared at me, confused. "The only one what?" I swallowed. "The only one he hurt." Her whole body went still. "What does that mean?" I took a shaky breath. "At his house. The police found a USB in his safe. It had recordings, videos, messages, not just of you, of other women. 3 before you, 1 before them, all of them scared, all of them hurt." Emily stared at me like she couldn't process the words. Then her eyes widened, filling with horror. "No," she whispered. No, he told me they were crazy. He told me his exes were dramatic. He told me they made things up." I nodded gently. "That's what abusers do." Her face crumpled. "Oh my God. I believed him. I believed him over them. I thought they were jealous. I thought they were lying." I wiped her tears. "You weren't wrong. You were manipulated. There's a difference." "But," she began, shaking, "did he really hurt them? All of them?" "Yes." She covered her face with both hands and sobbed. Her grief wasn't just for herself. It was for the women before her, the ones who tried to warn her, the ones Ryan had turned into ghosts so she wouldn't listen. After a long moment, she whispered, "I'm so sorry." I hugged her again. "You have nothing to apologize for." She sobbed harder. "I do, because the whole time, I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I made him angry. I thought if I tried harder, he'd stop." My jaw tightened. "That's exactly why he chose you," I said softly. "Because you're forgiving. Because you love deeply. Because he knew he could twist that." She pulled back, tears streaming. "I feel sick." "I know. And I feel stupid." "You're not." "That whole time," she whispered, "he wasn't breaking because of me. He was breaking because that's who he is." I nodded. "Yes, Em." He didn't snap. He never stopped. She let out a shaky breath. "What happens now?" Now. That was the part she didn't know. The police are contacting the other women, I said. Some already responded. Some are filing statements. One said she's willing to testify if it goes to trial. Emily's eyes widened. Trial? Yes, because the crimes weren't just domestic. There were blackmail files, threats, financial pressure. This is bigger than a restraining order. She took a moment, processing. Then she whispered, Harper, thank you. You don't have to thank me. She squeezed my hand. I do. Because if you hadn't walked into that house tonight, I wouldn't be alive. I really believe that. My throat tightened. I wasn't going to let him take you, I whispered. Her next words nearly broke me. Then who would I be without you? I held her forehead against mine. You'd still be you. A good woman, a strong one, and now, a free one. The next weeks moved fast. The police filed charges. Then more. Then more. Women came forward, timid voices on phone calls, shaky statements, emails with screenshots, photos of old injuries they never reported. Ryan's life unraveled publicly. His employer fired him. HR released internal complaints that had been buried. The news picked up the story. Local man arrested on multiple counts of domestic and emotional abuse. His mugshot was everywhere. No composure. No control. No smug smile. Just a hollow man finally exposed. Emily watched the news once, then turned it off. I don't want his face in my house anymore, she whispered. So I sat with her for hours. We drank tea. We talked. We were quiet. We were loud. We cried. Healing isn't linear, and Emily cracked sometimes. At night she woke up gasping. In the shower she cried silently. But every day she opened her eyes and remembered. She wasn't living in fear anymore. The sentencing hearing was packed. The women Ryan hurt sat on one side of the courtroom. Emily was in the middle. I sat next to her. Ryan entered escorted by officers. Not smug, not arrogant, defeated. He kept his eyes down. Even the judge looked disgusted. Mr. Hale, she said, your pattern of violence spans years. Multiple victims, documented threats, hush payments, secret recordings. This court has rarely seen a clearer example of ongoing predatory behavior. Ryan swallowed, staring at the floor. The judge continued, you didn't just hurt these women. You hunted them. You manipulated them. You broke them. His face twitched. And thanks to the evidence recovered, including recordings you kept, this court finds you guilty on all counts. Emily squeezed my hand. Tears streamed down her cheeks. For these crimes, the judge said, you are sentenced to 18 years in state prison. Ryan's head dropped. But Emily didn't look at him. Not once. Because this wasn't a story about him anymore. It was a story about her survival, her strength, her freedom, and the sister who stood by her side. The night after sentencing, Emily and I sat on my rooftop watching the city lights flicker. She whispered, who am I now? I smiled softly. You're Emily, the woman who lived, the woman who escaped, the woman who gets to choose her life now. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I'm scared. It's okay to be scared, I said. Just don't let that stop you from living. She nodded slowly. Thank you, Harper, for saving me. I wrapped my arm around her. You saved yourself the moment you ran to me, I whispered. I just ran with you. And as the night breeze wrapped around us, I knew one thing. Ryan broke every woman he touched, except the two who refused to stay silent. Me and Emily. We won. We survived. We healed. And for the first time, she wasn't looking behind her anymore. She was looking ahead. Did you like my story? Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. More life stories are waiting for you.